Are you gay?
Me? No.
What do I need to do to convert?
Yeah, I'm listening.
What do I need to do to convert you into being gay?
I don't think you can.
You don't think I could convert you to being gay?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Who converted you into getting a real estate license?
I did.
Who influenced you though? How did you learn about real estate?
Saw a TV commercial for $1 million listing.
Perfect.
And that kind of got in my mind.
And you were influenced to be a realtor. You weren't born with wanting to be a realtor.
Correct.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Did you get it? Let me explain to you what I mean by this.
Sure, please.
So, stats came out that shows which generation is the gayest generation of all. That's part of the LGBTQ community. Do you think you care more about what I think at this age or when you were 14 years old?
Definitely 14.
No problem. Me too, right? So, do you think it's easier to convert you in a way of thinking at 14 or 33?
14.
Of course. Right? Okay. I became a Christian because somebody talked to me about it. I got into insurance because somebody influenced me to get into insurance, okay? I got into bodybuilding because I was influenced by Arnold Schwarzenegger. I went to Santa Monica Community College because I was influenced because that's where Arnold went.
Patrick Bet-David had the woke podcaster Graham Stephan on his show, and he absolutely destroyed him with one simple question. He asked Graham Stephan, the woke podcaster, "Are you gay?" That question on the Valuetainment YouTube channel on the PBD Podcast, and he stuttered over and over again. He couldn't answer the question, and once he couldn't answer the question, that's when Patrick Bet-David smelled blood in the water, and he knew it was time to attack, and he absolutely put him in a blender. Let's check this out of Patrick Bet-David absolutely grilling Graham Stephan, the woke podcaster, live on the PBD Podcast.
So if you have to choose which of the two things to put in school, and you have to have one of them, which one will it be? You ready for this technical question?
Yeah.
Would you rather have your kids have to learn about God and pray every morning and to pledge allegiance to the flag, but they don't get LGBTQ learning, you know, all the different sexes and all that stuff? Or would you take God out of school and add they have to learn about what it is to be gay, lesbian, bisexual, queer, trans, and they have to know at an early age because it's part of us being free and not being discriminatory? Which of those two would you want your kids to learn about, and you have to give up the other one?
I feel like there has to be a balance because you don't want to be oppressive. Or let's say your kid is gay. You don't want them to feel like they can't be accepted and they can't be themselves. But at the same time, there's got to be some sort of
You got to pick one of them. You got to pick one of them. Come on, Graham.
I don't know, man.
Okay.
I don't.
So that's a problem. But that's a problem.
Yeah.
And the reason why that's a problem is the following thing.
We all know like what the actual answer is, right? Like anybody with a reasonable mind can hear that and instantly know exactly what the answer would be. And Graham Stephan also knows what the answer would be, except he cares a lot more about his brand and keep upholding this like golden boy type brand than actually answering tough questions like that and being honest with his audience. He'd rather just keep up the facade of, I am so inclusive, please give me more sponsorships, please give me more deals. Whereas Patrick Bet-David is the kind of guy that's just cutting through the nonsense, cutting through the BS. And he's like, dude, like, let's be real. Here's what it is. You know, we would all obviously rather have religion be taught, even if you're not a religious person. If you have a ounce of common sense in your brain, you would rather your young children be taught about religion and be taught, you know, Christian values or even other religious values. Like just having values instilled in your child is much more valuable than, you know, getting taught what is queer, what is gay, like all this other like gender nonsense. Everybody understands the answer to the question that Patrick Bet-David just asked. But of course, Graham Stephan has to dance around it to uphold that, you know, the image of who he is and keep getting those sponsorships coming through the door.
Are you gay?
Me? No.
What do I need to do to convert you?
I'm listening.
What do I need to do to convert you into being gay?
I don't think you can.
You don't think I could convert you to being gay?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Who converted you into getting a real estate license?
I did.
Who influenced you though? How did you learn about real estate?
Saw a TV commercial for $1 million listing.
Perfect.
And that kind of got in my mind.
And you were influenced to be a realtor. You weren't born with wanting to be a realtor.
Correct.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Did you get it? Let me explain to you what I mean by this.
Sure, please.
So, stats came out that shows which generation is the gayest generation of all. That's part of the LGBTQ community. Do you think you care more about what I think at this age or when you were 14 years old?
Definitely 14.
No problem. Me too, right? So do you think it's easier to convert you in a way of thinking at 14 or 33?
14.
Of course, right? Okay. I became a Christian because somebody talked to me about it. I got into insurance because somebody influenced me to get into insurance, okay? I got into bodybuilding because I was influenced by Arnold Schwarzenegger. I went to Santa Monica Community College because I was influenced, because that's where Arnold went. Influence. Somebody influenced you, right? 4 generations, 5 generations. Traditionalist, you got the boomers, millennials, Gen X, and you got Gen Z. You ready? Traditionalist, 0.8% of are gay. 0.8% of traditionalists are gay. Boomers, 2.6%. Then you go to 5%. Then you go to 10%. You know what percentage of Gen Z identifies as LGBTQ? 21%. 21%. So who do you think cares less about what you and I think? Traditionalists or Gen Zs? Traditionalists.
And what is this? This is a great point. Actually, such a great point. And it's concrete. There's nothing that Graham Stephan or anyone can say to the point that Patrick Bet-David is making here, because it's either option one, there's massive influence in the school system. There's massive brainwashing on the children, on the youth, to go in that direction, to go the gay route and push this gender ideology on the kids and stuff. Or number two, the human race is defective now, and the genes are just messing up, because obviously, like, if you're gay, you can't reproduce. I guess there's weird ways that you can, but like naturally, our natural the natural instinctive way of us reproducing is impossible if you like the same sex that you are. So that is a defect. If 21% of the population is becoming unable to reproduce because they like the same sex as they are, that's not good for the human race on a natural level, on a very like baseline, primitive level. That's not good for the human race. Obviously, we have technology and stuff that can combat that, but that's not good. So it's either number one, people are being massively influenced into going in that direction, or number two, the human race is now defective and it's getting worse and worse exponentially as the years go by. It's such a great point by PBD there.
You think if you and I are 70 years old and we're gay, do you really think you and I care about what other people think? What do you think? No. You're coming out. You ever seen a grandma or grandfather drop F-bombs and it's like, get your butt out of my... Because that, listen, I'm 10 years away from living and dying. Like, I don't give a shit what you think about me. But if 21% of Gen Z is gay, they're being influenced just like you were influenced to be a realtor, just like I was influenced to go into SMC. Influence. That's a problem. So the fact that you, a very smart guy, a super successful guy at your age, cannot tell the two apart, that means you're not really putting a lot of thought into what's going to influence who. Because God, faith, that's going to influence you to do what? Complete different thing.
Don't you think that some of that, though, is a bit of that overall people are somewhere on a spectrum? And if you're, let's say, a 2 out of 10 or a 3 out of 10, that maybe you're more open about that, whereas in other generations you weren't. And perhaps it's somewhere in the middle.
No, I think LGBTQ is a religion. And you choose which religion you want to be in front of your kids. Okay? You choose, if a person is gay, you're eventually going to be gay. You're going to be gay. You're not going to be, if you're going to do what you're going to do. Like, for example, I interviewed a guy who was a negotiator, FBI agent, who would sit down with people that killed, that were, murderers that killed their own family members. And I said, so what gets somebody to get to the point of wanting to do something like this? And he explained how there's a difference between what you're born with, what you're influenced with, and then to take the action, right? There are some people that are born who are dark human beings.
If you enjoy content like this, then make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
Period. That they enjoy it. They're born that way. If you look at the Iceman, I don't know if you've ever seen interviews of the Iceman. Have you ever watched interviews of Iceman?
Yeah.
That guy is cold, and he enjoyed what he did. What percentage of the world is like that? What would you say? 0.1%? Okay. So are we going to say, no, he was influenced to be that way? There had to be a darker person in his life to get him to be that dark. No, he's born that way. Okay. Are some people born gay? Maybe. Okay. But if we take 1,000 gay people, what percentage of them are gay because they were born gay? What percentage of them are gay because they were influenced to be gay? Or life influenced them to be gay? That's a real question we have to talk about. I understand it's a very uncomfortable thing.
I think it would be just attraction. Who are like I am attracted to certain people and a certain type. I'm not attracted to another type.
No problem.
So I feel like that would be the same thing with gender. It's like if you're attracted to men or women, that would be...
Graham.
Yeah.
Do you think you need to learn how to give a blowjob to another boy at 11 years old?
No.
That book is in schools, recommended teaching by many teachers in America. Do you think that's a problem?
Sure.
Do you think it's a better usage of my time to learn how money works?
Yes.
Or how to please another boy at 11 years old?
Right.
So then you have to decide your values and principles between the two. I think these values being taught to kids, are kids typically more liberal or conservative?
Liberal.
Liberal. Are you kidding me? I'm all liberal. Like, let's try drugs. Let's try this. Let's break the law. Let's break this. Hey, let's sneak into the swimming pool and have the cops chase us. Hey, let's test this out. We're liberal, right? Mm-hmm. So
I like how Patrick Bet-David is like, oh, we're liberal. We just like to do a bunch of illegal shit. Like that's basically like what liberalism is nowadays. Like defund the police. We should raise the threshold for what is a crime. That way we can get away with stealing $999 worth of groceries and not get arrested for it as long as we stay below $999. Like I like how that's what liberalism has become nowadays. It's like, oh, we just like to commit crimes. You know, of course we're more liberal when we're a kid.
We don't need to teach more liberal policies to kids. They're going to do shit. We're going to do stuff. We need to balance it out with what? With this, okay? So now watch this. Do you think rich, greedy people who have a lot of money, do you think they need to be taught more conservative stuff or more this stuff? Liberal stuff. What do you think? Do you see how this is working out? So to me, it's the other way around. I think we've mixed it up. So be understanding. This guy's 28 years old. He's gay. No problem. I got plenty of gay employees. I have plenty of lesbian leaders in my company. Plenty of them. And see how my relationship is with them. You chose to do that as an adult. Salute. A couple of them were here yesterday. Just watch how they hug me when they see me. Mm-hmm. We love each other. We have an incredible relationship. Then later on, we need to learn and say, hey, man, can you be a little bit kind to these people? Dude, relax. They just see things in a different way than you do. All good. I think we need to give conservative values to kids when we're liberals. And I think we need to inject a little bit of this when we're older, successful, to be a little bit more understanding. I think the education is out of whack. You know, maybe the LGBTQ stuff can be taught to people that are older to be a little bit more gentle to them.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I love those points being made there by Patrick Bet-David. There's no arguments. Like you can tell that he did, like Graham Stephan and the other guy, they didn't want to admit that what Patrick Bet-David was saying was correct, but there's no rebuttals for what he is saying. He's making a ironclad point that 100% these kids are being influenced. Just look at the statistics. You think that the stuff being in schools doesn't influence kids? Well, what else is it? It's either that or like I said, the human race is defective, but it's obviously the influence. It's obviously the stuff being pushed in schools. It's obviously kids being brainwashed. It's a great point made by Patrick Bet-David there. Let me know in the comments what you're thinking about PBD versus Graham Stephan in this debate. Obviously, things got a bit awkward at times here, but I think obviously Patrick Bet-David came out on top. If you disagree, let me know in the comments. Who do you think won this debate between PBD and this woke podcaster, Graham Stephan? Let me know in the comments what you're thinking about this whole valuetainment and PBD podcast clip.